It is a beautiful Tuesday here in Florida. Welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. So good to see all of you here on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, October 22nd, 2024. It is good to have you guys back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you guys have not already, go ahead and give a like. That pushes me out into the algorithm. That helps me out very much. If you have not already, you guys can also go to my Substack at jaybefaunt.substack.com. This gives you email notifications whenever I go live, upload clips, or write any articles at all. Also, just to let you guys know, I'm also part of Revolutionary Blackout Network, so you can find me there on Tuesdays for the Savvy and JB show and Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern for the JB show. So thank you very much for that. Hello, everybody that's watching on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rockfin, and Rumble. We are going to be having an interesting discussion with you guys today, and I am happy to be back. Yeah, I was under the weather over the weekend. Plus, it was my great nephew's birthday, so it was like kind of a double whammy. So I had to deal with both things. I had to, make sure that I was there for my great nephew's birthday because he's, I wanted to be there for him, but also I was kind of nursing this bug that I had over the weekend. So unfortunately, I wasn't feeling very well. So I am, I'd say probably about 70% of the way back, but still trying to get over a little bit. But we will press on like always. So good to see all of you here with me today. Also, just let you guys know, I will be trying to get my readings done as soon as possible. It's just a lot going on with working with the campaign and things like that. So that's a little bit of a hairy situation there. But at the same time, no matter what, it will get done. So thank you very much for that. So while we're at it, let's go to some of the comments and the chat just to say hello to people that are watching. And then we can get into what we're going to be talking about today. So we have CBC Voter coming in saying, happy Tuesday at JB. Good to see you, CBC Voter. Nice to have you in here. We also have Kenneth Ellison says, hey, JB, good to see you, Kenneth. All right, nice to have you in here as well. Let me check on the Rockfin side just to see if there's anybody in the Rockfin and also if anybody's in the Rumble. All right, we're going to check there really quick. Looks like we're good on the Rumble side. Thank you so very much to everybody for joining in. Roger Meadow says, Larry, you over here now? Just finished talking to you on your show. Stop stalking me, Larry. Larry will be here in about a half an hour, so we'll be doing a segment first, and then we'll be getting into Larry. But yes, Larry will be joining. We have Amy coming in saying, I hope we are dangerous in the right way. I'm right there with you, Amy. I'm right there with you. All right. We have Colin coming in and says, test for, please. We on the left can't continue the ableist denial of the ongoing pandemic and the harm it caused in the movement and working class. Mask up indoors. Yeah, it's definitely not that. Trust and believe. It is definitely not that. In fact, if anything, I'm actually getting over what I've had. I highly doubt it that I've never gotten it. And if I did, I was asymptomatic. Interesting. All right. We have Jacqueline coming in saying hello to all the peeps, CBC Voter, Roger Meadows, Amy Sachs. Good. Wait, Amy, are you? No. Last name is spelled differently. I was going to ask if you're related to Jeffrey Sachs, but most likely not. All right. We have Charles coming in. Says, I'm here, JB. I made it. Good to see you, Charles J. Good to see you as well. All right. Kat Terrell is in here. Says, you're on the same time slot as Due Distance right now. It's okay. The thing is, I've been at this time slot for how long? So if they suddenly decide to come into this time slot, I've been in this time slot for almost 3 years. So, but yeah, thank you very much. And no relation to Jeffrey Sachs. Gotcha. Thank you very much, Amy. All right. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, this is going to be one of the things we're going to be talking about in a little bit later. We're going to be talking about are third parties dangerous? We're going to be talking to Larry Sharpe about this. Now, Larry and I, we differ on some opinions, but there's some other opinions that we definitely have overlap. But I would love to have a conversation. And also, another reason why I want to have Larry on here is because I do not want this to be an echo chamber. I want to be able to speak with people who I do have some disagreements with on certain things. And I think it's appropriate to invite somebody who I may have some disagreements with on some things. But the one thing that we definitely can agree on is about third parties. So we're going to be talking about that. So we'll be talking about that and a few other things as well. But for now, we're going to be talking about praying for war criminals. We've got to talk. Look, some of y'all are going to come after me, especially some of you Christians are going to come after me. But I got to speak my piece. I have to speak my piece. So let's go back to January 2nd, 1998. There once was a young man named James, and this young man was 14 and a half years old. This 14 and a half year old James decided to take the plunge. Literally, that was the day that I got baptized and I was an ordained minister. At 14. Of course, I was part of the organization, the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. I say Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses because, number one, that's how they call themselves in all legality. But also, I say Christian Congregation because a lot of times people will say, well, Jehovah's Witnesses, are they Christian? Yes, they are. With that being said, you could rightfully say that for me, preaching door to door, preaching about Jesus and his father Jehovah, that I was an evangelical by definition. So I can speak with a little bit of authority on this issue in regards to what these pastors are doing to people like Kamala Harris, or I should say for Kamala Harris. I want to first go to a particular video that I saw that I'm going to be honest with you. I say shame on these pastors because ultimately what they're doing is antithetical to what Christian values really are. Now, I say I am a former evangelical. I do not consider myself staunchly Christian anymore. We can get into the belief system that I hold, but that'll be, a 40 to 45-minute conversation by itself. But I definitely want to speak about this. So let me get into this. I want to examine this, I say, prayer and why it's so problematic. And so this took place on Kamala Harris's birthday. Let's see this. Let me enlarge this. So I guess her name is Kim Writes for You. She says, unapologetically Black, positive, and unbothered. Well, that may be a problem. She says she was born for such a time as this. And then she brings up Esther chapter 4, verse 4. Hang on, let me take a look at that. What does Esther chapter 4, verse 4 say? Because I would like to see. Okay, it says, for if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish, and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Okay. So that's what Esther chapter 4, verse 4 says. That's basically what she's trying to essentially give attention to. Let's get into this and let's examine line by line.
Around your daughter, no hurt, harm, or danger. I pray that you'll assign 100,000 angels to cover her head. Thank you, dear Lord, that you have given her this moment to defy the odds in front of the entire world. Now, God, not for her name, but we promise we're going to give you all of the victory. Not by might, not by power, but only by your spirit. And those of you who believe that Kamala Harris was born for this moment, would you give God glory for her even in this? I'm waiting for the prayer warriors to open up your mouth. She's moving from this place. She's moving from this place. We've got 2.5 weeks. We got 2.5 weeks. But I want her to remember in fond recollection, in Atlanta, Georgia, they prayed for her, that they covered her, and that they strengthened her.
Here's my issue. And I'm going to be as respectful as possible because there are a lot of Christians in my family. And I know many people who are Christian. Let me ask you guys this one thing. Those of these pastors, these people who are praying over Kamala Harris, how did you feel when her and Joe Biden gave money in order to bomb Jesus' home of Bethlehem on Christmas Day of last year? Were you praying for them then? Did you pray for them after the first 1,000 people were murdered in Gaza? Did you pray for them after the second 1,000 that were murdered in Gaza? How about the third, the fourth, the seventh? I want to know what would behoove you to want to give strength to a person that is this devoted to the extermination of the people that live in the land of Christ. How? Are you so blind to the atrocities that you do not see the monster before you? That you do not see that there is a charlatan, a fraud within your midst? And make no mistake, I'm not saying this because I support Trump. I'm saying this because she's too much like Trump. And those of you who would demonize Trump, and yet you are praying for Kamala within your sacred place of a church, you mean to tell me that the crimes he did is reprehensible, but the crimes that she's currently doing that's similar to a lot of the crimes that he did as president, you're going to just gloss those over? The Lancet put out estimated over 200,000. And it's not just Palestinian Muslims. It's also Palestinian Jews and Palestinian Christians. Your brothers and sisters. Your brothers and sisters in the faith that were murdered by the very person that you literally are praying over in your midst. Shame on you. Shame on you. How dare you? How dare you place somebody like that in your midst and think that God is with somebody like her? God is no more with Kamala Harris than God is with Donald Trump. And yet, you somehow want to pray over her in the black church. I'm going to show you what this reminds me of. Let me show you. Because I don't want people coming in and go, "Oh, JB, you're vying for Trump." No, I'm not. Let me share this with y'all.
This is one of the greatest men. And before we start out, we'd like to pray over him. And we know we are people of prayer. So will you stretch your hands and pass President Trump? These are some of your greatest faith leaders. They would love to pray over you. Pastor Jensen's going to start. Apostle Maldonado. And we love you. Will everybody just stretch our hands towards the president before he gets up? Because we know that prayer makes a difference.
Let's all pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you today and we thank you for this nation that was born in 1776. We pray in 2020 it would be born again. We pray for your spirit.
So while we're basically showing this, what is the difference, pray tell, between praying over this war criminal or the other one? They both want to continue in the extermination of the people in Gaza because it serves the interests of the empire. And yet, you find it in your hearts to pray for this person, for them to have success? Success over killing children? Look, I'm going to share with you something because I think it's important that we bring attention to this. So I'm going to let you guys know, full disclosure, I am one of the press directors. I'm one of the press directors for the Jill Stein 2024 campaign, right? I've said it before. I've actually made an announcement here. Full disclosure, right? Everybody knows. But one of the things that I definitely want to share, and I think that's really important, is that those of you who are religious, whether it be Christian, Muslim, Jewish, it could be Hindu, it could be Wiccan, I don't care what it is. I think you have a duty to call in and check people of the same faith if they are going against the values in which you uphold. Butchware did just as much to Ilhan Omar. Let's get into that really quick. And then I'll give you guys what I said afterwards. So here is Mehdi Hassan speaking with Ilhan Omar about Butchware criticizing her for being a Muslim and supporting Kamala Harris.
Just on the Green Party, though, what is your argument when people say they're voting Green? A lot of people are criticizing Muslims who support Harris. The Green Party now has a vice presidential candidate who is Muslim. Butchware, he was on this show recently on Instagram. He called you, quote, beyond reprehensible, he said about you, after you praised a group of Somali community leaders for endorsing Harris. He has also suggested that Muslims who vote for Harris or endorse Harris are not proper Muslims. They're hypocrites, that they have betrayed the people of Gaza. What's your response?
Well, I don't know who this person is, but clearly it is always wrong for a candidate to characterize the people who are opposed to them or supporting their opponents in the ways in which he has done. And, you know, I was born Muslim, I will die Muslim, and I do not have a qualifier to my Muslimness that I worry about.
So here's what I said. As a former evangelical Christian, I would tell Christians that they're abandoning their faith or voting for either genocidal candidates. Yes. If they put their faith first, then you hold them to that. It will be no different than the prophet Nathan confronting King David about his atrocious actions of murdering Uriah and his adultery with Uriah's wife Bathsheba. Christians need to hold other Christians to account for their actions. If it's not Christ-like, then you deserve to be checked on it. Settler colonialism is wrong. And if God said you must not covet another man's wife, bull or ass, then I think it's safe to say the same for another man's land. So helping Zionists to covet other people's land is a sin. Zionist Christians are some of the most anti-Christian people I have ever seen. They will cheer on Israelis for murdering their brothers and sisters in Palestine who are also Christian. It's sickening. Supporting Harris or Trump puts you in that same camp. Ilhan Omar, how do you square this circle? So Christians who are praying for people like a Kamala Harris or a Donald Trump, how do you square the circle of someone who continues the oppression of other marginalized people around the globe? How do you square that circle? How do you square the circle for the people who are literally doing the persecution? You're praying for the King Herods. You're praying for the Pontius Pilates. You're praying for the Caesars. That's who you're praying for. This is not like Jonah with Nineveh, right? This is not like, oh my God, they're a nation of people who are absolutely horrible. But then once they hear that God was going to judge them and destroy them, then they repented and turn around. It was not like that. People like Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are unrepented murderers. And you are literally allowing them, laying on the hands and praying for them. And don't give me this, oh, well, they're working tirelessly for a ceasefire. If you're working tirelessly for a ceasefire, that means that you cut off the means that would murder the people who you say you're trying to save. I think it would be, look, if I knew that you were going to harm somebody, why would I give you money to purchase that weapon? And if I say that I don't want you to harm anybody, but I still give you money to buy that weapon, am I complicit? Kamala Harris is still complicit. Does this put your faith into question? Yes. JB, you're judging. Yes. According to you who are supposed to put your faith first. Is that what you want to do? Look, you say only God can judge you. Guess what? Go ahead. But if you truly believe that the soul survives the death of the body and all those Palestinian souls come approaching you at the end of the day, well, why did you pray over my murderer? Let that be on your conscience. But to those Christian pastors who are praying over people like Trump and praying over people like Kamala Harris, you are wrong. And I ain't afraid to say it because it shouldn't have happened. But yet, of course, you guys don't believe in the separation of church and state. Except when it comes to taxes. Well, with that being said, thank you very much for this. Go ahead and give a like to the stream. I said what I needed to say. Thank you very much. Just to let you guys know, my guest is here. Larry, let me know when you're ready. Just give me a thumbs up. All right. Well, we are going to be introducing my guest for today. We're going to be talking all things politics. We're going into our next segment right now. We're going to be having in Mr. Larry Sharpe joining me, a New Yorker and a New Jerseyan, coming in live before you today. Good to have you here, Lawrence.
How are you, my friend? Good to see you as always.
Good to see you. I didn't mean to use a government name, but I just wanted to, you know.
I'm actually a Larry, believe it or not. I'm actually not a Lawrence, but I don't mind.
Really? That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes. Most people who are Larry are actually Lawrences, but I'm actually a Larry. So yes, I'm one of the rare ones. I am.
So you are a pure, unadulterated, 100% Larry.
It's true. Yes, it's true. Absolutely. Yes. So
nice.
It's good to see you, man. What's going on? I know a lot of stuff's happening. I didn't realize you were that much into the Jill Stein campaign. I knew you supported her. I didn't know you were actively working. Good for you, man. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was approached and I, had to talk it over with RBN and my loved ones. And I was just like, should I, shouldn't I? And they were like, I think you should. I'm like, okay, cool. So I was like, all right. This will be a good experience for me.
She's going to make the most impact, I think, this year, right? I think that person was going to be RFK Jr. until he jumped on a Trump train. I thought he was going to make the most impact. But now that he's kind of out of that world, I think she's going to make the most impact this year.
Do you think that all the attention that she's getting now, is this going to be more of a setup for more stronger third-party positions in 2028 and 2032?
I'm going to give you what I think most people don't want to hear, but I'm going to give you my actual opinion on this. It is critically important. If you have any say in this, she should take all of her resources, and I mean every dollar, every volunteer, everything she can, and shove it all into Michigan. And I mean everything. She should abandon the other 49 states completely, and she should just move. Her and Ware should move to Michigan. I'm not joking when I say this. Hear me out before you yell at me. Just hear me out first before you yell at me. The most important piece here is, if she is able to get just 35% of the vote in Michigan, that's a win in the three-way race. That's a win. She needs 51%, 35%, three-way race. You could win with 35% of the vote. You could win. If she turns Michigan green, imagine, and that means on that map, that we're going to see 1,000 times next 4 years, There'll be a green blob right there. The Green Party becomes real. The Green Party becomes a thing. You will watch money and talent flock to it. And the biggest thing you get, I know you do, you get this all the time. JB, I would love to vote for her, but she can't win. You guys can't win. I know you get that all the time. I'm a libertarian. I get that all the time.
Yeah.
But now when she wins Michigan, you go, what are you talking about? Right here. She won. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? No, it's right here. Here's a win right here. It's a win. It takes that out of the equation. Not just that. It puts her in the running, I'm not joking, for actual president. Why? Contingent election. To be part of a contingent election, according to the 12th Amendment, you must have at least one electoral vote. So that would mean if neither Trump nor Harris get 270 votes, it goes to the Congress. And the only people who are involved in that are those who won electoral votes. She now is part of that. Her people are, now she probably won't win anyway. Doesn't matter. Imagine the impact she makes for the Green Party for the next 4 years. It is politics. There is no substitution for victory. That is all that matters. If she wins anything, she becomes somebody. If she gets 1 million votes, nobody will care. She's already got 1 million votes before, and nobody cared. She wins Michigan, everybody cares. This is the number one thing she should do under any and all circumstances. Throw everything else out the window. I don't care about ballot access, because here's the issue. She already can't get 50-state ballot access because of most of the laws in these states anyway. I know libertarians can't either. So 50-state ballot access is not a thing anyway. So stop worrying about it. Instead, win that state and you will watch the money flow. There's a whole lot of anti-war Democrats who would love to back Jill Stein. You know this, but they won't because she can't win. All of a sudden she wins something, it won't be her. Maybe Ware runs next time. Maybe you run next time. Jill Stein can go retire finally if she wants to. It's fine. But she would be, if she did this, she is the mother of the modern day Green Party if she does this. Because everything will come from that. There is no doubt that if she wants to do this, everything goes into Michigan. And I mean, they pack you up and move you. Everybody goes to Michigan. And you get your 35 to 40% of the vote. You win Michigan. And now everybody goes, holy crap, the Greens are real. Oh my God, they're real. And you will watch money flow in. And when money flows in, what will happen? In 2026, in the local elections, you'll actually get ballot access in 2026 in the states you missed. So by 2028, you might get 50-state ballot access because you have money, you'll have talent, you have people who believe in you, you get a whole bunch more votes. All of a sudden, things change. The answer is winning Michigan at all costs. Nothing else matters. Otherwise, what's she going to do to be forward? She's going to come in third or fourth, right? It's going to probably, when it comes to popular vote, odds are you're going to have Harris come in first in popular vote. She may lose the election. I don't know if she's going to win the election, but she'll probably come in number one popular vote because there's physically more Democrats. It's about 50 million Democrats, I think, registered, about 40 million Republicans. So the odds are she'll get higher in popular vote. Then come Trump, regardless of who wins. And then third will be either RFK or her. RFK is still going to get 1 million votes. There's enough people who still love him and worship him will vote for him no matter what he says. They're not going to vote for Trump. They're going to vote for RFK Jr. So that number. And the next number is her. So she comes in third or fourth, right? Then comes Chase Oliver. Then comes Cornel West. That's going to be the lineup. 3 and 4 is I'm not sure who, right? If she comes in third or fourth and doesn't win a state, nobody will care. She's done it before. She ran before and came in third or fourth, and nobody cared. You win Michigan. I don't care if you come in third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. You just won a state. That's a victory. So that's my view. People don't want to hear it, but I think it's the right answer.
That's heavy, but I can't really contend with it. You know what I mean?
There's one other answer. She's going to get third place. So what? She gets third place. So she's got third place before. So nobody cares.
Yeah, I mean, you make a strong point there, man.
She has limited funds, but here, let me go one step further. She has limited funds. But
that's true. Yeah. And
you know, if you're on a campaign, you know how hard it is to raise money, particularly now. Right? It's hard. But now you go back to your donors and go, we got a plan. What? We're going to win Michigan. What? We're going to win Michigan. Holy cow. Yeah. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. This is going to happen. Dude, I raise money. It's what I do. You know, I raise money for politicians. It's what I do. I raise it for myself, others. You got to have a reason for someone to give, or they don't give. You got to have a reason. Now you say, we're going to win Michigan. I'm in. How much? I'm in. How much? Can I move? Will you guys pay for anything? You can do my, no, on your own, man. Okay, fine. I can do a week in Michigan. I'll do it. And you're going to volunteers on their own dime who will go, I can do 3 days. I could do that. You're going to pack up and go to Michigan for a weekend, knock on doors and go back home. Guaranteed, because it's a mission. It's a reason. You don't have that now. You have a, well, we hate Democrats, which is nice, but that's not a reason. You say we're going to win Michigan. We're going to put the Green Party on the map. We're going to make it to where in 2026, we get all those states back for ballot access. So for 2028, whether Ware runs, I don't know if Ware wants to run in the future, but assuming that he does, or maybe he's done with it. So someone else runs. Who cares? You now have a viable Green Party with a victory under their belt. And that means in 2028, whoever's running, they got to mention Michigan every single time. They can't ignore the Green Party. They cannot anymore, which is what they do. They ignore the Green Party forever. They can't when there's a big green blotch on every map they show in 2028. They cannot. Yeah. And they're going to say, well, who's running this year? Oh, it's whatever. Maybe it's Ware or whoever. For the sake of argument, it's Ware. Ware's running this time. He was the VP last time. He's running. Oh, my God. He's running? Yeah, he's the guy who won Michigan. Oh, my God. The Green Party becomes real. There is nothing that substitutes for victory.
So you're basically saying it's basically you're putting a crack in the hole, right? It's like if you're in a submarine and there's a crack in the hole, that spells doom for that submarine.
Correct. Yes.
And so basically you're saying we just got to crack the hole and it's over.
100%. And it has to be with what people agree. Look, you know this. Again, you're working the campaign. You've heard this. People go, yeah, I want to vote for a winner. They don't even care about the policy. They just want to vote for a winner.
Yeah.
All the time. Yes. So show them a winner. Here's Michigan. There's your winner. And again, if Ware is running, well, then he was part of the ticket who won in 24. So no, I got my winner running. Here he is. He's the guy who won in 24. You want a winner? I'm showing you one. Vote, show up. You got people in your chat right now saying they would go to Michigan for a couple of days. I wasn't making it up. I just watched the comments in your chat. Like, yeah, I would go for 3 days. I'd go. They're saying it already. In your chat, popping up randomly. Yes. Look, I've been in the independent game since Gary Johnson 2016.
Yeah.
So I know the independent game.
Yeah, he was one of the most successful third-party runs ever.
100%. 4.5 million votes. I was his surrogate. I was on TV for him multiple times. Yeah. I believed RFK Jr. was going to make that. Clearly, he didn't. But I thought he could do it. I was his surrogate too. 5% is what I want. 5% makes an independent party real across the country. That's what I want. And I thought I was going to get that with Gary Johnson. I couldn't. He got close, got 3%. 4.5 million votes was great, but it wasn't enough. I thought RFK Jr. could do it. He dropped out, so he's not going to do it. I don't think Jill Stein can get 5%. But can she get Michigan? Yes. Yes.
Wow.
See? Already. Okay. Look, yeah. I just see Lewis Gordon said, I would go. Glow Fox, I could too. Yes. I'm not making this up, brother. People would go. They would pack up and go. You would see them. This is the answer. If you have any influence in the campaign, please tell them what I said. Maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't, I don't know. But I've been saying it. I said it in another podcast last week. Right? And you might, people have teased me. They said, Larry, wait a minute, you're a libertarian. Why would you care about this Green Party? Because if we don't get a third party, we're all finished. That's why. If the Greens blow up and do well and explode, so will eventually the other parties will follow behind them because they break a hole. The rest of us move through.
Yeah. It reminds me of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and how, yes, we Black people, we were able to get these rights, but then it also opened the door for many immigrants to be able to come in too. So it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, we can crack this hole. Whether it, like, to be honest with you, whether it's the Green Party or Libertarian Party, I don't care who, as long as that ceiling is broken.
Correct.
Right? That's the only thing I care about.
I have sat in court literally with Jill Stein and her people. I've sat in court literally with Howie Hawkins when he was running for president, because we're all fighting the same people. We're fighting the same monster, right? It doesn't matter. We're fighting the same monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just to be fair, and this is true from Z-Man, he says Steinware is already incorporating Michigan heavily into their overall strategy. This is true. I mean, they've been to Dearborn too many times to count. So I think
such thing is too much. No such thing as too much. No such thing as too much. No such thing. Don't stop. Keep going. That's a yes.
Yeah. And so I can say that for looking at the itinerary of Jill and Butch, they've been going back and forth to Michigan quite a bit. But I wanted to also get to this because I'm seeing something that I've never seen before in my limited time of watching elections, that it feels like the corporate media is now sounding the alarm. They're ringing the bells going, oh my God, third parties are going to get us, right?
Yes.
There was a segment that I shared with you that I wanted you to react to. And if we have time, I also want to get to the Lawrence O'Donnell segment because that just dropped like 3 hours ago. But I want to get into this. Stephanie Roll is actually talking to some strategists from both the duopoly, and I want to get into this.
With the race tied, third-party candidates, especially in battleground states, could be the spoilers in this election. Our nightcap is still with us.
I want to vomit.
This isn't one of those elections where we're talking much about third-party candidates. We don't think they're out there, but they are. RFK is still on the ballot in Wisconsin. Jill Stein is still on the ballot in Pennsylvania and Michigan. Should these candidates be worried about it?
Yes, because this may come down to a couple thousand people in Michigan, right? And if Jill Stein, a couple thousand
people. I know
people
Paul, by the way.
Please go ahead.
I know Paul. Paul Rykoff started Iraq-Afghan war vet, something like that. He started off as a very good guy. He was a veteran trying to help out veterans. He's become a massive grifter. I'm very disappointed in him. I met him more than once. He's now all about the system. I wish he wasn't. He supports veterans, but supports warmongers. That's not how that works. You can't support veterans and support warmongers, but he does both.
Okay. Thank you very much for that insider info.
A couple thousand people in Michigan, RFK Jr. can capture a couple thousand people in Michigan. They can upset the apple cart and determine the election. I've been covering this on my show for 3 years now, and I think people have underestimated the impact of RFK, not to win, not even to attract a majority of independents, right? He's attracting a radical, specific group of people, same kind of people that attract Jill Stein, that might be enough to tip one or two swing states. That's the threat that they present.
What was that?
This is a lie, what he says. He says the threat is they present radical people. 100% not true. Have you met RFK Jr. supporters? Have you Jill Stein supporters? Are they all radicals? There are some, but there's radical Democrats and radical Republicans too. So it's not like there's some massive percentage more of radicals in the RFK Jr. group or in the Jill Stein group. He's just saying that to scare you. Remember, they have to use what's called the one-word story. This is done in politics always, right? Radical, terrorist, crazy. It's the one-word story. People who have no argument must make you believe the other person is not valuable. You can't listen to them. They're not important because I have no argument. So that becomes immediately this. James, you can't listen to these guys. They're radicals. So stop listening to them. I know they seem to make sense, but they're radicals. Don't listen to them, right? Or they're crazy. Don't listen to them, right? Versus listen, realize they're wrong, and vote for the other person. No, because you might realize they're right. So guys like Rykoff make those names. And that's how you do a one-word story. It's dismissiveness. They dismiss. It's such, you do all the time. Whether they call what do you call? Harris is a Marxist. Harris is not a Marxist. That's a use of a word so that people will ignore her. That's the one-word story, right? They do that all the time. I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but I just want to bring that piece up.
No, and that's actually a really good point because they do that to Republicans, and Republicans do that to Democrats.
Yes,
and they expect it to be able to work with the rest of us who may be voting third party, and it's like we don't care. It's like we focus more on the policies. It feels like it's a personality, a cult of personalities that they try to paint on others.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's like,
And the
well,
funny
this
part
person is this way.
if you look at something interesting, the anti-war movement is only in third parties. Have you noticed that? It's only in third parties. It's one thing we almost all share. Far left, far right, middle, third parties, we all agree, why are we bombing people? The duopoly's happy with bombing people. They don't care. They might choose which ones. I want to bomb some more brown people. I'd rather bomb some white people. I mean, they might decide on who they want to bomb, maybe, but they're bombing. It does not matter. They're bombing. But anti-war, we're all anti-war.
Yeah. Yeah. Because whether you're a third party right winger or a third party left winger, we all say stop the wars.
Correct. That's because what we're trying, the independent movements are actually focusing on the people internally, right? The duopoly is about the privileged. That's what it's about. If you're a duopoly, you're privileged. You like the way the world's going. You don't want to change. I get it. Look, if I'm some Wall Streeter and I'm making 7 figures a year, why would I want to change anything? Why would I? There's no reason. I don't care about Medicare. Doesn't matter to me. I pay private doctors. I don't care. I don't care about if things are expensive. I got tons of money. I don't look at the price tag when I go shopping. My person shops for me. I don't shop. Why do I care? Right? So of course you love Democrat, Republican. Who cares? All good. You don't care. But what about if you want to bombing people? Good. That makes people think about other stuff. The poors who get in my way, they can go off to war or whatever, right? That'll get them a little jobby somewhere. That's how they think. They don't care. But when you actually want to fix the country, that's when you go left, right, which is the right way to repair. How do I fix it? Third party is the future, which is why you hear me push third parties constantly all the time. Someone asked me, now, I am opposed in many ways, policy-wise, to Cornel West. But I know him personally. I like the man myself. I happen to like him. Some people don't like him. I do. I've been on panels with him before. I like him. If he was the only guy on my ballot other than Trump and Harris, I would happily, eagerly vote for him, even though I disagree. Why? Because I want third parties. I want to break a system. I want to break the system down. It doesn't matter. Look, if Trump or Harris wins this thing, if you lean left, you'll be better off if Harris wins a little bit for 4 years, a little bit, but it'll still suck. It'll still get worse. And then 4 years later, we're going to get whatever, President Cruz or whoever we get, President Rubio. So it's going to get bad again. It doesn't matter. If you lean right, it'll be a little bit better if Trump wins because you lean right, but it'll still be bad and get worse. And then 4 years from now, we get whatever, President AOC or whoever is the next, whatever, President Pelosi, if she's still alive, whatever, we get one of those, right? So it doesn't, if we don't change the system, we're just pausing a little bit, whichever way you lean for 4 years. That's it.
And in the end, the corporations still win.
Correct. Yes. 100%.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you very much. Let's continue.
Most independents want an alternative. They don't want RFK. They don't want Jill Stein.
That's
they
a
are
lie.
not real independents.
That's a lie.
But
that is BS. Come on.
Yep.
Larry, go ahead.
Utter lie. He just made that up because he is a corporate shill now because corporations fund his nonprofit. Corporations and the government fund his nonprofit, so he is now a shill for them. So disappointing.
Damn. Wow.
Okay, they don't want Jill Stein. They are not real independents. But these people fill a void
real
for a certain group.
Right now,
Stein's people
That's
have
what he
overtly
just
said.
What was that?
He just said real independents would vote for Harris. Are you smoking crack? I would like whatever he's smoking. That you would think that real independents want to vote for Harris. That's what he just said.
Yo, when he said that, I was like, wait a minute. If they consider themselves to be independent and they're voting for Harris or Trump, they're not independent.
Yes. And he said exactly the opposite. He's like, no, real independents don't want independent candidates. Real independents want the establishment. What? War is peace. Slavery is freedom. That's what he just said. War is peace. Slavery is freedom. He just said that. And the brain dead chimps at MSNBC went, yeah. Because every one of them is privileged too. Every one of them is.
Yes.
Everyone. It used to
you
be.
Know
You
what?
go back
Please
30,
say
40
that again.
years. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll just go.
No, I was saying say that again because a lot of times people like myself, I'm voting third party because I do not have the privilege that they have.
Yes, exactly correct. Look, I don't, two parts I want to bring up real fast if I could. Number one is every
Sure.
one of them is privileged, right? They sit there and they're all getting paid 6 figures a year to sit on a radio station or a TV station that no one really watches, right? That only that literally 300,000 people who are over 60 watch. That's all the people who are watching it. And they get paid 7 figures a year because they're establishment. And the establishment still has value. It always will have value. So they get paid a bunch for that. Great. They're talking to nobody. They mean nothing. It's useless. They have no power. And we know that because once they leave, they fail. The second they leave that position, they fail. They suck. Their position is good. And they think they deserve their position. They don't. They got lucky. They are good-looking people who know how to read. That's literally who they are. That's all. Every one of them. They're good-looking people who know how to read. And they all went to Ivy League schools. Every one of them is Harvard, Yale, every one of them is that. So you're that. So you're party privileged. And you used to be maybe considered one of the poors because your family happened to be black or Hispanic or whatever it was. But you were elite because you went to elite schools. So you still became elite anyway. And you've forgotten where you come from. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit there and act like I'm some guy who lives in a poor neighborhood or something. I don't. I am a proud member of the professional consulting class. I am, and I make good money, but I didn't forget that I came out of the South Bronx. I didn't forget that I was raised by a single mom. I didn't forget that my mom was a felon and an addict. I didn't forget that. That's the difference between me and them. I didn't forget. I still remember it. That's the only difference. But no, I moved up. I'm happy and proud of it. You've never heard me cry about that. I tell people where I come from all the time. I don't mind. And I tell them where I am now, and I'm happy where I am now. I have a lot more privilege than my family had. Tons more privilege than my family had. But I still recognize privilege when I see it. That's the only difference. That's it.
Yeah. Larry's spitting over here. Thank you very much for that. All right, let's continue.
Their objective is to beat Kamala Harris. If you want to beat Kamala Harris, you want to throw a wrench in the system, you want to protest Gaza, you want to do any number of things, Jill Stein is here for you. But most of all, they are the candidates, not of independence, but of people like Putin, of Trump, and of disruption.
That is some bullshit.
100%. And you got me going again on this step. This guy says, this is the one-word story. I get it. I even get it from your chat. Your chat will come on and go, Larry's a lolbatarian. Right away, they'll attack me. Trying to dismiss me, the same thing he did. One word story, can't listen to Larry because you said the thing. That happens all the time. I get all the time. If I say, I don't want us fighting in Ukraine, I don't get, oh, Larry's a peacenik, which I am. Instead, I get Putin puppet. I get that instead, right? Always. It happens. I go to podcasts, get it all the time. I expect it. It happens. He does it now too. But again, what he literally said, if you want to protest or whatever, or try to beat Kamala Harris, that means you're Putin or you're so Harris is the appointed person. No democracy, no voting. I actually have won the same amount of states that Harris did, by the way. I've won the same amount. 0. She won none. Right?
Me too.
Yes, you too. We have all won the same amount of states that she won. The same amount. All of us have. Yes, she was anointed. She was thrown in. And now she was made perfect all of a sudden. But for democracy, you have to vote for her. So you have to vote for the appointment. If not, you're a Putin guy. Women, Putin's also anointed. Dude, how does that work? Right? How does that work? No way. This is something he just makes up to dismiss you. Remember, they don't have arguments. Since you don't have arguments, all you can do is scream other guy bad. Don't listen to other guy. That's the issue.
Yeah, and the thing is, he says that they just wanted to beat Kamala Harris. I'm like, actually, you're right.
Yes,
we do want to vote for
I'm here
Jill
for
Stein because to beat Kamala Harris, but I also am voting for Jill Stein to beat Donald Trump. See, that's the thing. They always leave out the beat Donald Trump part too.
Correct.
It's like, no. She's running against both of them. It's not just one or the other. This is not a team sport.
I have to grab this one of the people. They always push on the idea of, well, if you're Green Party, that means, you want to stop Donald Trump. Or if you're Libertarian, that means you want to stop Harris. No, if you remember, Donald Trump came to the Libertarian Party convention and we booed him. If we wanted to be Republicans, we wouldn't be libertarians. If you wanted to be a Democrat, you wouldn't be green. If you cared only about winning, you'd be a Republican or Democrat. That's what they care about, winning. Nothing else matters. If you care about policy and issues, you become third party. That's kind of how that works.
Basically, oh man, I'm loving this conversation. Let's continue.
Mantha, what do you think?
Well, I suppose I beg the question, like, what do you do? What do you do if you're
great
Kamala
question.
Harris?
You do.
With the
You do exactly what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's revealing Jill Stein. She's running ads against Jill Stein. They're calling him out and saying, what I've been saying is, if you're a real independent, don't waste your vote. Don't fall for the trick. It's a wasted vote if you put it toward one of these people.
I'd be really
Pause that.
Wait, how is it a waste if people vote their conscience?
Yes. Literally what she said, she goes, okay, so, and imagine this for a second. Her question's an honest one. Okay, so now you've got Jill Stein popping up here. She's here. What do you do? And his answer is attack her. He didn't say, well, you should show people what good policies I have, or you should show people how I'm going to help them, or you should beat her in ideas. You should debate her and slaughter her on the debate stage. Now, if it's me, I'll say I'll happily try to debate somebody and slaughter on the debate stage. Happy to do that because I believe in my policies. I believe in what I believe in. I'm happy to promote them and tell the world about them. I believe they're true and right, or I wouldn't believe them, right? I do. But no, instead of that, they go, you should call her names and tell independents that voting independent is wasted vote. Freedom is slavery. War is peace.
These mother.
Yes.
focused less on the third parties, but more on the newer voters that are coming out and figuring out if they're actually voting for the parties that they want to, right? I think one of the bright spots in the early voting numbers was the amount of newly registered voters. And I think that is a beautiful bright spot. I don't necessarily share your same view that it's as dangerous as it is having the third parties on those states, but I could be wrong.
No.
Wait, the Irish lady just basically proved our point?
Yes, she was like, yeah, I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, exactly. Look,
because they have third parties in the UK.
Yes,
it's okay.
Yes, the world doesn't end. Yes, and look, let me give you a reason why I was so happy that RFK Jr. ran this year. And some people were mad at me for it, but I don't care. I thought it was the right answer. And here's why I'm happy he ran. He brought up ballot access like nobody's business. I spoke about ballot access this last year. Excuse me, more than every libertarian for the past 50 years combined. People start to understand the problems that ballot, and Greens and Libertarians have been fighting this battle for 50 years, trying to get on ballots throughout the entire country for years. RFK pops up, everyone's talking about it. So happy he did it. Happy he ran. That was great. Now we're talking about that. That's an important piece. And they're trying to push that away, that he had to spend $20 million on getting ballot access and still couldn't get on the ballot. That's a big deal, right? That's number one. Number two, there's a new thing. I don't know if you care about this, new thing called Policies for the People. It's policies4people.com if anybody wants to check it out. And that is actually now started where people who were in the RFK world who cared about policies and wanted policy to change, they now go there and they can put their policy ideas up, and RFK Jr. and Trump are supposed to look at it. I hope they will. I hope others look at it. But that kind of community came up out of this, right? That kind of community that didn't really exist. So community came up out of this, right? I'm sure you're seeing the Green Party now. What Jill Stein has done very well is unite, or maybe like coalesce the anti-war left better than anyone I've seen in a long time. Maybe Bernie had done it in 2016, maybe, but prior to Bernie 2016, and that's a maybe, she's done it better than anyone I've seen in a long time. The anti-war left has jumped around her. And with that in mind, they're funding her. This is not a bad thing, right? If she spoils Michigan, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. If I get more of an anti-war coalition on Jill Stein's side and then a freedom policy coalition on an RFK Jr. side, we are better set for 2026 and 2028 than ever, whether they win or lose, right? This has been a very good year for independents in general. I wish it was better, obviously, but this is better than 2020. 2020 was a disaster for third parties. It was a disaster. This is way better for third parties. And not just that, look at the independents. Look at Nebraska. Dan Osborne is running in Nebraska. The Democrats were so broken in Nebraska that they can't run a Senate. This is a U.S. Senate, not local state Senate. U.S. Senate. There's no Democrat running. Dan Osborne is running against a Trump-backed Republican, and he might win. He's actually looking good. This is happening more and more. Independents. 2 years before that, in Utah, an independent ran. Democrats won't run a candidate in Utah because they can't win. They can't raise money. They can't win. So they instead decided to throw an independent up there. He almost beat Mike Lee, and Mike Lee is a very popular senator in Utah, and he almost lost. So the independent movement is happening now. It's absolutely happening now. I do think that this is going to be a good year, even though it won't be great, better than 2020.
Yep. Thank you very much for that.
In Michigan, we know there is a large Arab American voting base. Over 100,000 there voted uncommitted in the Democratic primary. Now, they might not be going out and voting for Donald Trump, but how concerned should VP Harris be about this group?
I think she should be concerned. I'll never forget on 2016, watching the reviews coming in, the reviews. It's all
reviews coming in.
It's all theater. You know, watching the exact number of votes that Hillary Clinton needed.
What was that?
I said it is theater. She said the quiet part out loud.
Well, you won't get any pushback from me on there. So.
Number of votes that Hillary Clinton needed to win certain states. They went to Jill Stein. They went to Gary Johnson, I think his name was.
Yep.
People who
it was.
And I have to ask, like, what is their end game? Like, she wants to hurt Kamala, but then what does she want to do? What do they want to do? I've never figured that out.
They want to win.
They want to break the system. Say again.
Now.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. If you lean right, if you're a right-leaning person right now and you used to support the Republican Party, okay, over the past 25 years, the Republican Party has been in place where it actually owned the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the courts. Okay, where's your balanced budget amendment? Nowhere. Where is your rebooting of the border laws, right? Where is your changing of the asylum laws? Nowhere. Okay, what if you lean left? Great. Democrats have had both the House, the Senate, the presidency, and also the Supreme Court. Okay, where's your Medicare for all? Nowhere, right? So everything you might want, you don't get. It doesn't matter. And they just keep saying, where is your codification of Roe v. Wade? That didn't happen either. Just get that too. What happened? If you lean right, you don't get what you want. If you lean left, you don't get what you want. What we want to do, Miss, I am also privileged sitting on some stage of people because I make 6 figures a year and have forgotten where I come from. She also is saying, well, you people you people. That's her. What are these people? That's her, because she's not part of them. She doesn't understand what's happening. She could care less. She doesn't. She gets on the stage. I made it and I pulled the ladder up. Oh, well, forget about it. We don't care. She pulled the ladder up and she made hers. And you poors, why do you guys have these worries? Stop getting in my way. I've got money to make. That's where she is now. And she acts like she's one of us in some way. Stop that. She's not. She doesn't care. That's why she says what she says.
Yep, absolutely. I can't stand when other Black people do that to themselves. Let's continue.
Have power. Some of them want power, want influence, want money.
Yeah, I got tons of power.
Grifter.
Yeah, I was going to say, oftentimes.
Here
her a
we go,
grifter? He called her a grifter?
Yes.
This guy's the CEO of grifters, and he's calling her a grifter. Oh, horrible.
Wow. Goodness gracious.
Sometimes you're in the grifter zone when you don't know what money is behind you. You don't know what foreign powers.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
powers.
Wait. She said you want to know what the grifter is, but you don't know what the money is behind you or foreign powers. I'm sorry, but how many people has Kamala and Donald? How many people that are billionaires that are giving them money? What about AIPAC? That's money from a foreign power called Israel. Why aren't we talking about that, MSNBC? Miss Stephanie Roll, I think you really need to get into looking at the foreign powers and the money that's going into the duopoly.
Yes.
How?
Yes.
Wow. How did people like Corey Bush and Jamal Bowman lose? Who put their money behind their opponents?
Yes. You are 100% correct. The craziest part is who gets the dark money? Now there are PACs that are dark money PACs that exist 100%. So dark money PACs, great. Who gets that money? Is that Jill Stein getting all that dark money? Is that Gary Johns who got all that dark money? Is that Howie Hawkins getting all that dark money? Is that Chase Oliver getting all that dark money? No, that's Trump and Harris getting all that dark money. It's like, you don't know who's behind it. No, you don't know who's behind your girl. You don't know who's behind your boy. We know who's behind ours because we work in the campaigns and we know exactly, we meet the donors. We know who's given. We know.
Yeah. In fact, there was a Jill Stein event where people were literally on camera saying, "Oh yeah, I'm donating this much. I'm donating $500. I'm donating $1,500." These were people on camera with their faces saying, "I'm donating."
Yes.
No. And these third parties, who's donating what? And the thing is that they're not big corporations. They may be some people who may be more affluent, but that's it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Utter hypocrisy. Total hypocrisy.
Yep, absolutely.
The question here about how both campaigns, Harris in particular, can offset those votes is by making sure she has more voters coming out who she knows are going to support her, right? New voters, yes. I mean, I'm going to draw a sort of graph here in midair, but if you look at turnout over, percentage of people who turn out by age, it sort of goes like this. You have this blip at the beginning when people are like 18, 20, it's their first election, then it goes like this, and then it goes up like that, right? And so for a long time, this end of the spectrum has been the Democratic end, where they, even if they are independents, but they are liberals mostly, and they vote for Democrats. And so that is where Democrats always had troubles getting those people out. Now, interestingly, this race actually has a lot of support for Harris at the other end of the spectrum, which is good news for her, but she still has a base of people who are less likely to turn out and vote. And so they're doing these ads targeting Stein and revealing her for who she is, but they also need to make sure they're doing everything in their power to get as many of those people who are even thinking about voting.
But when you say a base of people that are less likely to vote, are you just saying that, like, yes, we know the die-hard MAGA fans are going to vote all day, every day, yesterday, tomorrow, and they're going to go to a rally. But just because her base is not as fervent wearing 16 hats and a flag outside their house, does that mean that her voters are less enthused or
no, I'm talking structurally. Structurally, it is less the case that younger people vote than older people. And their jobs make it so it's harder for them to get away. They don't know how home.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want a couple of things I want to bring up during this conversation. Every single thing they talked about wasn't factual. It was dismissive. And that's what I keep saying. He says, it's revealing who she is. Has Jill Stein been hiding everything? Is that what she's been doing? She's run before multiple times. She's been vetted before. Whatever you like or don't like about Jill Stein, you knew that in 2016. You knew that in 2018 when she ran before, right? In 2014 when she ran before. Like, she isn't a new person in that regard. And they act like it's revealing. Why say that word? Because you have to assume that she is somehow hiding. She's somehow an agent. She's somehow a provocateur. That's the piece. And the second thing Stephanie says, there's just some people who just vote for Trump no matter what, because they're crazy, not because they hate the left, which some do, or because they actually love Trump, because some do, or because their family and friends are doing it, because some do. There's many reasons people vote for Trump. Same for Harris. Some people vote for Harris because they hate Trump, some because they actually like her, some because their family and friends do it. People are doing it for many different reasons, but she must be dismissive of the people she doesn't like, which is Trump supporters. This is basically a Harris rally, is what this show is. This show is a Harris rally. So she has to make the people who are Jill Stein dismissive. RFK Jr. dismissive. Trump people dismissive. Everyone else is smart and savvy, right? That's how it has to become. And she brings up a very valid point. She goes, they got an American flag and 6 hats on. Again, because they're crazy and dismissive. Everything is that you're not saying, and what you should be saying is, hey, wait a minute. Trump's policies, he didn't help minimum wage, even though he's working at McDonald's. Okay, that's a valid concern. Say that. That's a valid reason to say, I don't want to vote for him if you don't, I don't know if your viewers like or hate Trump, but whatever. That's a valid reason. Have that conversation. Okay, what about minimum wage when he's sitting and working at McDonald's? Okay, valid reason. Not, well, because you wear 6 hats and a flag. That's a stupid reason. That's dismissive. If you really don't like Trump, there are many reasons to say that. Policy issues, personality issues. You don't have to insult the voter. And they do.
Yep, absolutely. Let's finish this up.
They move all the time, and so they have to re-register to vote, and then they forget about doing so. They're not in the habit of voting. They have less income. Like, there are all the factors that make it so that younger are in the military and people of color are more likely. Yes, and they just don't know. They don't know what to look for.
One of the biggest Google searches for Gen Zs about voting is, what do I wear to vote?
Sure. Like, they have to wear the uniform. Exactly. They need to know.
Really? So I know.
So now we're insulting the younger people.
Yes. Absolutely. Everything is dismissive. This is a Harris rally. At what point did I bring up any issue or policy or thing that Harris would do well? Not once. Not once. Why? That's what Harris rallies are about. Dismissiveness.
Vibes.
Yes. Yes, it is why, and I'm going to bring it up because it's important. You will find so many men hating this. So many men, because men deal with being disrespected and dissed constantly, particularly men who aren't making much money. Constantly. If you're a man who's not making a lot of money, you deal with feeling disrespected and dissed constantly by your friends, by society, by women, by your partners, constantly, by your parents. You get dismissed constantly. You get disrespected constantly. And now you see this, and this vibe makes you not like them. This vibe makes you not want to be around them. And what third parties do well is they bring in all the misfits very well, because we're all misfits. So they bring in all the misfits and we feel at home. That's why when people go third party, they rarely go back, because they actually feel at home in the third party. Because I'm not mad at you because you can't give me a $12,000 check. I'm happy you did some phone banking for me. I'm happy you did a show and put me on. I'm happy you did a sign waving for me. I don't need you to write me a check for $12,000. But these guys, you can't write a check for $3-4 grand? You're poor. I don't need you. You're not important. That dismissiveness is turning a lot of men off. You see, there's a huge gender gap. And it used to be Democratic Party, used to be, not true anymore, it used to be the party of the working class. Now, the Republican Party isn't that yet. But is it trying to become that? It's struggling to become that. The problem is its history has not been working class at all. So it has a massive institution, massive establishment of not being for the working class at all. So for it to make that shift, that's turned the Titanic around. It's a massive turn of the Republican Party. They have not done a good job of this at all. And the Republican Party doesn't reach out to the black communities. It's terrible at that. It doesn't do it well at all. That's a whole, it's a massive turn. So what's happening? You find people who are working class, and you find people who are of all colors, suddenly look at other options. The Democratic Party has abandoned them, and the Republican Party can't absorb them. So what do? You either just go to the Republican Party and say, I'll just take it, I'll deal with it. It's not perfect, but I'll deal with it. You find a lot of people doing that. Or you go third party. The problem with third party is you don't win. So you start feeling like, why bother? This goes back to what I mentioned. Win Michigan. Win Michigan. Get a win. You'll see people flock.
Yep. Let's finish this up.
Honestly, you know what, question? I want to cry because you know what I thought she was about to say, because I just interviewed a bunch of college students who were saying we can't figure out what the policies are, and I thought you were about to say no. These young people are interested and they just don't know what the policies are.
There is, I don't mean to be facetious, but there are a lot of new voters that it seems like such a foreign thing to them, right? They don't know the rules of voting, and this is like they live in a digital world. They don't like. I have lots of Gen Zs that work for me, even picking up a phone call
for voting,
but they don't necessarily know that.
The selfie they're going to take with that.
That's what I want to look good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to finish completely because
just look at how they laugh at it. Look at how dismissive they all are at this. They're just laughing.
That's once again, they insult the young people who have legitimate concerns. And I know this can be kind of silly, but as a millennial, we invented the selfies, and we're the ones that are taking a lot of the selfies, not the Gen Z. So you leave that vanity to us.
You're right.
But the point is that I was, and it's funny because at my great nephew's birthday party, I was speaking to his uncle on the other family side, 21 years old young man. And he's told me he does not like Donald Trump and he does not like Kamala Harris. And he did not know that there were third options.
100%.
And once I showed him that, he was very appreciative of learning that there are third options. He didn't know there was a Claudia De La Cruz, a Dr. Cornel West, a Dr. Jill Stein, or a Chase Oliver. Hell, there's Jasmine Sherman. There's Dr. Sheila. There's all these different people out here, right, that are third party that you could actually vote for. And if you go according to their policies, then you can find somebody that actually fits the values that you want to vote for.
100%.
But the problem is that they purposefully, you can't talk about him. And you know what's funny about this, Larry? I wanted to bring this up. You know the phrase they say, I think it's first they ignore you, then they fight you, and then you win. I forget exactly the phrase.
I think it's first they laugh at you. No, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win.
Yeah. Right now they're fighting.
Yes. That's my point.
They're fighting.
That's my point. Yes.
Yeah.
That is my point. If you remember, immediately the first attack they went after, the Democrats, the Republicans kind of chilled. They were not very aggressive this year. They have been the best. They're the ones who sued me off the ballot in 2022. So Republicans are just as bad as Democrats. But this year, Republicans were like, we're not worried. We think we got Donald Trump. We're good. That's what most Republicans thought. We'll be fine. The Democrats thought, oh my God, we have no policies. We have no actual candidate which was worth anything. We better attack RFK Jr. to make sure he's done. Because RFK Jr. had the best chance to have impact this year early on. That was he was the best chance for impact. So they threw everything at him. They put I'm not joking, they put $1 billion aside just to stop him. They sued him in 18 states. Yes. And they won in most of them and lost in others, but they fought him to the end. He lost tens of millions of dollars just trying to get in the ballot. They fought him like there was no tomorrow. And they won. And then they wonder, why do you go to Trump? You literally destroyed him in every way, shape, and form. Why wouldn't he? Of course he would. Of course. And Republicans like, oh, free votes? Come on in. That's how Republicans saw it. Free votes. Come on in. You'll take them. And they took them right in. Of course they would. Why wouldn't you? It makes total sense, right? So then Democrats, okay, we got rid of him. Now what do we do? Oh my God, Jill Stein. And if you notice, it just turned to Jill Stein. They ignored Jill Stein for months. For months. But then they were afraid of something. They knew that RFK Jr., his people, wouldn't just turn on Trump. Some would, some wouldn't. Some would turn on Trump, some wouldn't. They're like, oh, what about those who won't? Oh, they might go to Jill Stein. Turn on Jill Stein. And now, if you notice, about a week after RFK drops, they spend some time attacking RFK to make sure to push him out. Good, you're gone. And then they turned all their guns on Jill Stein. They ambushed her in the Breakfast Club. They ambushed her everywhere. Everything's an ambush. And this is what I got to give Jill Stein. I've met Jill a couple times. I happen to like her. I know some people don't like Jill. I know if you like, I get it. I met her. I like her. I don't have a problem with her. So she will go into the lion's den. And a lot of people won't. Stein will. Stein will go into the lion's den. And Ware goes in fighting. Where Butch goes in with gloves up. He goes right in. He is right in. He does not care. He goes right in. Right? Like that. He goes in. He goes in mitts up. He's ready to go. But in any case, my point being, I do think that they turned on her because, again, to your point, they got to push everybody down. She's the next one they're fighting. But here's the issue. If she holds on, which, again, this is the advantage, I think, of libertarians and Greens. We never stop. We fight to the end no matter what. Other people, when they see how hard this is, they often quit and they drop. Because I've run for office more than once. It is brutal. It is horrible. And the last couple of months is just terrible. It's so hard on you personally. When I was done in 2018, I was 6 figures in debt. When I was in 2022, I was 40K in debt. Now, most people couldn't even handle that, would never do it again. I'm stupid and I'll do it again. But I just keep doing it. Luckily, I'm in a position to where I can recoup that money. Over time, I can recoup that money. Again, I'm part of the professional managerial class. I can recoup that money if I need to. And I can raise money. I raised over $500,000 twice for both of my races. So I know I'm a good fundraiser. I can raise money. I can do that. Most people aren't in that position. I recognize that. And it becomes tough. But if you are a green or libertarian, that means you're an ideologue. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing because it means that even when stuff is tough, even when you're going to lose, even when the media is destroying you, even when you're being annoyed, you won't quit. Most people will. What I'm happy about Chase Oliver, and I'm happy about Jill Stein is no matter what, they're going to the end. They're going to the end. And when you go to the end, now people go, I believe in that person. Okay. I believe in them. When you drop out, people go, eh. Do you know what I'm saying? We need more people to keep pushing forward, more people to keep doing it, more people to keep going, no matter how bad it is. Because eventually, to your point, there's a saying, my normal job is I'm a business consultant. And one of the things I tell people is, it isn't you can't win them all. It's you can't lose them all. Eventually you win. Eventually you win. And if you keep pushing, if it isn't you, it's the guy or gal behind you. People ask all the time, Bladder, you keep running. You going to try to save the world? I don't think I'm going to save the world. I don't. Do I think I can set it up to be saved? Yes. I think I can be one of the people who sets up to be saved. I do. I think if I can get ballot access, if I can push forward, if I can get the third-party messaging out, right? If I can be a good surrogate for third parties. I was a very good surrogate for Gary Johnson 2016. I was a very good surrogate for RFK Jr. here during this when he was running. I was a very good surrogate for him. If I can be a good surrogate, because people see there's some value there, we can make this happen in the future.
Yeah. Many hands make the load light, right?
Yes.
You know, absolutely. Man, there was this segment that Lawrence O'Donnell did. I wish I had enough time, but I promised you 30 to 45 minutes. But yeah, there was this segment that Lawrence O'Donnell did, and he even brought in Jill Stein's family on it. I was like,
I hate that.
Dude.
Let me go off on that for a second. They did it with RFK Jr. too. And that kind of personal attack, let me, all right. My daughter now is 20. She might want to go run for something. Let's say she runs and she is not a libertarian. Am I going to be like, my daughter's terrible? Oh, no, I would. Now, might her and I have a discussion at dinner table? Perhaps we would. But publicly, I'm going to say only one thing. My daughter is her own person. Good for her. I hope she does well. I love my daughter. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Even if I disagree with her completely, she's my daughter. I'm not going to diss her in public. Never. Now, her and I might have disagreements at the dinner table. Maybe. That's fine. And then that's between her and I in private. We can have those conversations. But she can do whatever she wants when she's out there. If I don't like what RFK Jr. is doing and he's my brother, I'm just going to go, he's my brother. You know what? He's his own person. I hope he does well. Done. They sold out their family for politics. Shame on every one of them. Shame on any of Jill Stein's family who would do that. Shame on any of RFK Jr.'s family who would do that. You would sell your family for politics? What is wrong with you? What a horrible person you are. You don't like their politics? Awesome. I don't really agree with his politics, but good luck. I love him. He's my brother. Move on. You got to go out there and you got to virtue signal to strangers who don't give a shit about you compared to your brother, sister, cousin, uncle. Why would you do that? That shows how bad you are as a human being. I'm sorry. I'm just being, you got me going on this one, JB. That's your fault.
No, no, it's just what Lawrence O'Donnell said was just, he basically kept saying that, oh, vote for Jill Stein is a vote for Donald Trump. And I'm like, dude, you actually said something quite the contrary a few years ago. And a lot of people forget what Lawrence O'Donnell said. If it's like it's like a minute and 11 seconds, if you got time.
Go, please, go.
Okay. So let me share this because the segment where Lawrence O'Donnell is going off about how a vote for Jill Stein is a vote for Donald Trump, that's like almost 10 minute
I've got about 15 minutes left, give or take. Okay,
so I'll just play this short video then instead. But this is what Lawrence O'Donnell. Yeah, Lawrence O'Donnell said this. because a lot of people forget that he said this. So whenever you guys see that segment about Lawrence O'Donnell talking about a vote for Joe Stein is a vote for Donald Trump, I want you guys to play him this.
If you want to pull the party, the major party that is closest to the way you're thinking, to what you're thinking, you must show them that you're capable of not voting for them.
Because the way the Democratic Party is run now for quite a number of presidential cycles is they pick a nominee in a kind of half-assed process that doesn't really represent much of anybody.
Yep.
And then you tell everybody to just shut up. Don't bring anything that will complicate life for your nominee. You know he's not for you on this. Why badger him? He's not going to be for you for reasons that you don't understand but are good reasons. Shut up. Turn off your brains.
If you don't show them you're capable of not voting for them, they don't have to listen to you. I promise you that. I worked within the Democratic Party. I didn't listen or have to listen to anything on the left while I was working in the Democratic Party because the left had nowhere to go.
Yes. And I got to tell you, before I was a libertarian, I had an idea. I said, all black people should vote Republican for one cycle. Probably 2004, I was thinking that, 2004. Because I was always voting third party. Like I voted for Perot in 1992, 1996. I voted for Nader in 2000 and 2004. So I was always the third party guy. So I was like, it's not working. We should all just like vote Republican one time. That was my thought process. Because I was thinking he was thinking, if we vote Republican one time, then Republicans go, oh, wait a minute, I can get your vote. I might pay attention to you. I mean, I don't now, but I might. And Democrats like, oh, wait, I have to pay attention to you or I'll lose your vote. Yeah, maybe you should pay attention to me. So I was thinking it back then. Now I've changed my mind. Now I'm like, just all people should go third party. Just go third party. Just go third party. And then they have to change, right? The powers that be, to O'Donnell's point, don't care about you or me. They care about power. So if we can show them that they can lose their power, they will react. Again, not because they care about us, because they care about their power. I think that's the piece.
So I want to end with this one question. Are third parties dangerous?
Absolutely yes, and that's why I love them. 100% yes, and that's why I love them. They are dangerous. Dangerous to the thing that I can't stand, which is the status quo. I hate the status quo because it's not helpful, and everything that's happening is getting worse for everybody. And I look at it in America, we are having less opportunity for people. Less opportunity for people, less safety for people. We're having less people falling in love, less people having good health. We're having more and greater wealth gap, more and greater income gap. Nothing but bad is happening and nothing's being solved. I want you to ask yourself, when in the world have we solved something? Can you remember? I can't. That's not a good thing. We don't solve things anymore. We just fight. And the third parties are the way to force them to stop just letting the same thing happen again and again and again. The past 25 years, we've rotated back and forth between Democrats and Republicans. And what have we gotten? 25 years of decay. That's what we've gotten. 25 years of decay. Nothing, just decay, more decay, more decay. Things have not gotten better. Third parties are the way to fix that, because at least then third parties are the way that we can make something change without violence. I do not want violence. We haven't recovered from our first Civil War. I don't want a second one, right? I don't want us to go to violence. And my worry is what they all say. MLK said it. Thomas Jefferson said it. If we don't provide people with the ability to have a peaceful revolution, to have a peaceful change, we are making violence inevitable. And I don't want that. So yes, to your question, they are dangerous, and that's good.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, I'd like to thank you for joining. This was a very enlightening and cathartic conversation, especially regards to third parties. Where can they find you and all the socials and all that other good stuff?
You can just check out Larry Sharpe on everything. I'm on everything. Larry Sharpe YouTube, Larry Sharpe Twitter. I'm on Getter. I'm on everything. You name it, I'm on it. Just Larry Sharpe everything. That's my YouTube page. Absolutely. Check out my YouTube page if you want to. It's great. Please check me out to the best of your ability. Subscribe if you want. I do a show almost every day. Somehow I'm live almost every day someplace. I'm happy to have you guys on board.
All right. Thank you so very much, Larry. Good to see you. Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. So that was Larry Sharpe joining. It was a great conversation, especially in regards to, what, this fear mongering about third parties, is going on within the corporate media. Of course, corporate media always has a bias, and that bias is towards corporations. Whether they're Fox News and Newsmax, and they're with Donald Trump, or they're MSNBC and ABC News with, I'm gonna say Hillary Clinton, with Kamala Harris. It does not matter. The focus is on the interests of corporations. Donald Trump is a corporate stooge. Kamala Harris is a corporate stooge. You want to walk away from the corporations. That's where we need to go. Because the thing is that ultimately they're going to sell you down the river. Each and every single time. And they really do not give a damn about either of us. And in fact, I think I have something here that I also wanted to show. Hang on. There was this. Yep. Let me share with you guys this. Because I just want you to know how much these guys actually care about you, and how much either party, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to show you something from the Financial Times. Says the co-founder of the world's largest asset manager has said the outcome of the looming U.S. election between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump really doesn't matter for financial markets. This is Larry Fink, CEO of Vanguard. He said, "I'm tired of hearing this biggest election in your lifetime. The reality is, over time, it doesn't matter." If Larry Fink of Vanguard, is it Vanguard or BlackRock? Either way, still the devil. Anyway, if Larry Fink is basically saying that it really doesn't matter, he's still going to get his money. He's still going to siphon and leech off of you. He's still going to have it good, no matter if it's Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. He said the quiet part out loud. They're literally telling you right now that no matter what, they win. The only time that they're actually afraid is when we organize and build dual power outside of electoral politics in the streets. And then when we take that Tuesday in November and bubble in a name that's neither red or blue, that's what they're afraid of. Larry Fink does not want you to support a Chase Oliver or a Jill Stein or a Cornel West or a Claudia De La Cruz or a Jasmine Sherman. They don't want you to do that. They also don't want you to have enough time to get out and actually build dual power by organizing within your communities and doing the things that actually threaten his power. I say you need to do both. Be dangerous in a positive way. Be dangerous in a way that actually saves lives. Be the good kind of dangerous. Be dangerous like the Black Panthers were dangerous. Right? How they gave out meals and help people with their plumbing or help people with their health care. That's the kind of dangerous The dangers that makes the Democrats and Republicans go, oh, uh-oh. The dangers that makes people like Larry Fink think. So yes, this is why it is important to join an organization and leave a duopoly. Go ahead and give a like to the stream. We're going to get into the comments in the chat, and as well as a shout out to patrons. Thank you so very much. All right, so I know I didn't get to some of your comments in the previous segment. I also will be covering that too, just as an aside. So I'll let you guys know that as well right now. So, all right. Let me check on the Rumble side to see if there's any Rumble rants. And then if not, all right. So we do have a chat in Rumble. Let's go there. And then I'll get to the patron shout out in a second. Wait. There we go. All right. This was such a good conversation, y'all. I tell you. All right. So thank you to EXRXS. Says her name was on the ballot. I voted for her. Are you referring to Jill Stein? If so, cool beans, cool beans. Get outside the duopoly. Thank you very much on the Rumble side. Okay, let's go into the Rockfin chat. Hang on, let me make sure. All right. All righty. So thank you for this link. Here, Roger, hang on. Let me see this tweet that you shared. Roger says, not one black millennial in there. If a Zoomer is in there, they are 12 to 18 years old, dragged by their Gen X parents or Boomer or silent, mature grandparents. Oh, yeah, Kamala Harris at that church. Mm-hmm. Still thinking that the old black church is relevant in 2024. This is the definition of out of touch. Yeah, it is the definition of out of touch. Because the thing is that a lot of these kids, man, they're looking at the transgressions of, of a lot of the black church that has essentially sold them down the river. I'm not going to say it's all, but I'm going to say it's a huge chunk, because the thing is like they're more focusing on tithes than they are on actually helping their community, especially the mega churches. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet TD Jakes wanted to give his endorsement to Kamala Harris, but they were like, shh, no. All right, let's get back to the rest of the chat. All right, so thank you, Roger. Hang on. Still got sniffles, guys. Sorry. But he said, clear violation of the 501c3 tax code. Someone call the IRS. Quick, this one will be perfect time to bring up that the IRS code to show the people JB. Interesting. In fact, now that you brought that up, hang on. 501 C3 code. Interesting. Let's take a look at that. What, Roger? See, I love the way Roger thinks. Look, Roger is one of those dudes that you need in your corner when you need to just look up stuff. All right, hang on. Because these churches are bringing in Kamala Harris and praying over her. It says, to be tax exempt under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code, an organization must be organized and operated exclusively for exempt purposes set forth in the Section 501c3, and none of its earnings may inure to any private shareholder or individual. In addition, it may not be an action organization, i.e., it may not attempt to influence legislation as a substantial part of its activities, and it may not participate in any campaign activity for or against political candidates. Right there in the beginning. Right there. Right there. You cannot do that. So, are churches listed as 501c3s? I don't know. But here's my thing. If you are willing to use your your religious organization to influence either legislation or a candidate, therefore, you should lose your tax exemption status. One of the only religions that I know of that does not participate in any type of political action is Jehovah's Witnesses, which I used to be a part of. They do not participate at all because they do not believe in the political system and they are politically neutral. So therefore, they stay out of politics altogether. Now, if any other church wants to do this, fine, go ahead. But the minute you guys start bringing in politicians and talking about legislation in your churches, you lose that status. You need to start paying taxes. Yep. That's something that I think needs to be revisited. Because you're so willing to push your congregation in a particular way, and you're willing to influence legislation and political figures and votes in a particular way. Let me find out. Let me find out. Thank you for that, Roger. Thank you for that, Roger. Oh, man. He said, Larry, regarding what I said on your program, we can't predict how an initiative will be interpreted and used against us by the courts. But with the power of the veto referendum, we have the power of self-correct. He's not wrong at all. Work closely with the abandoned Harris and you'll have a huge chance. That's from Amber King. Thank you so much. Amber also continues, says, but it needs to be 100% the focus. Yeah. Roger says what the Democrats and Republicans don't understand when they say, but your guy can't win, is that we vote based on policy, not who can win. So it was never a wasted vote. Oh, yes. Thank you for that, too. Because the thing is like, to me, a wasted vote is a vote based on vibes. Or a wasted vote is a vote based on, I just don't want the other guy to win. That's a wasted vote. The problem is you have so many people that are convinced to waste their votes when in reality, they should be voting based on their conscience. Because if people actually voted based on their conscience, we wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. If people actually voted based on their conscience, how many more people would have actually voted for, let's say, Ross Perot? How many more people would have voted for Ralph Nader? How many more people would have voted for Gary Johnson if they voted based on their values? How many more people would have voted for Jill Stein the first time? Bernie didn't win, but you voted for him. Wow. Let's continue. Let me see. Anna Maris, thank you for this. Says, I think walking outside and hugging a real human will have more impact than elections. I love hugs. Thank you very much for that, Anna. Amber says, going for people power, and boy, howdy, they do not want that story getting out, which is why I reported election interference to the FBI yesterday. Oh, my goodness. Amber says the church is not a 501c3, unfortunately. And it says a nonprofit can put 20% of its efforts and funds towards political activity, but no more. And not a particular candidate or campaign. Yeah. And Roger says, make all that money open to the congregation to see. Yup. Thank you very much for all that clarification, guys, in the Rockfin chat. Appreciate it very much. Roger in here says, Michigan also allows voters to place their own amendments, laws, and repeals of laws on the ballot. If you put the Green Party headquarters in Michigan, they get to run their entire Green Party platform as CBIs, leading the way for our policies. That's a really good point. Roger says, JB, you don't have to tell them, just show them this segment. I intend to. Thank you very much for that. Creative Experiment says, Taylor Swift and Dick Cheney team up to support Kamala's genocide. Shake it off. Woo! The hate is gonna hate. Z Manny says, it's not just foreign powers. The same applies to deep pocket donors like Big Pharma, etc. They're customers, and the problem is that politicians are for sale. Agreed. Let me go to some more of this in the beginning as well. Dwayne says, this will be the fourth time I voted for Jill Stein. I wrote her in the year Howie Hawkins was the Green Party nominee. I don't blame you. Oh, my goodness. A. Marie. My apologies. I mispronounced your name. A. Marie says, maybe they should interview a Green Party or independent candidate and ask them. A. Marie Merendina, nice to have you. See my point, but they won't do it. You know, my goodness. Yeah, exactly. Helio Grigors. They're like, what's the point? To win. Like, are you guys that dense? Or are you being intentionally obtuse? No, it is actually to win. That's actually what they want to do. And here's the funny part. They're like, well, Joe Stein keeps running. Joe Biden kept running. I'm sorry, but who was found out to be doing plagiarism back in 1988 as a run for president and had to drop out? Joe Biden. But yet you guys still voted for him. He never actually won a presidential race. And yet you guys decided, well, let's vote for Joe Biden. Kamala Harris did not win her primary for this cycle. She didn't win a primary because she never actually ran in a primary, but number one. But number two, in the 2020 primary, she actually dropped out before Super Tuesday for California. So she never won her state in the California primary. So, I mean, Jill Stein actually ran and won a primary, but Kamala Harris hasn't. So if we're going to focus on winners, come on now. This is going back to the previous segment. Z Mandy says, I thought Christ's example was to literally put oneself in the same position as the most oppressed and derided. But how rare is that? Yeah, you're right. the people who are the most vulnerable, the people who are the poor, the sick, the needy, the people who are being oppressed. But yet, you'll have church leaders praying over the people who are the ones that are subjecting them to that. You know, they're going to sit there with the Herods and the Pontius Pilates and the Caesars, and they honestly think that they're doing the work of God. It doesn't make any sense. I thought you were all Christians. You know, Human Rights for All says, yes, it would make you complicit. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, yes. See, yeah, she knows exactly who Butch Ware is. She just doesn't. See, that's what they do. They go, oh, I don't know who this person is, when in reality, they actually do. Denial says the real criminals are the ones that brainwashed you. The whole world loves Trump. No, we don't. No, we don't. But whatever helps you sleep at night. Colin says when they say pray, they mean pray. Yikes, yeah. Lewis says Dick Cheney called Martin Luther King Jr. an American terrorist, and think how quickly people forgot that. Dick Cheney, look, every accusation is a confession. That's all I'll say in regards to Dick Cheney. I mean, 1 million Iraqis have entered the chat. Thank you very much. Official People's Party USA says, I'm glad you're having fun with this. I'm way past this point. Yeah. Cobra Commander says, yeah, funny thing about demands, they only work when they're backed up with threats, and threats only work when they're credible. This be Cobra's domain. Yeah. Thing is that if you're willing to hold Democrats accountable, you have to hold them accountable when it's time. You have to carry out your threat. You have to carry out that warning. Warning, if you do not do what we demand you to do, then you will experience these particular consequences. And then you carry out those consequences. Or are you going to reward them by voting for them? I thought you were about that life. Hold them to what they said that they're going to do. If you're my employee, if I'm your employer, and if you tell me you're going to have something done by a particular time and you fail to do so because you just didn't want to do it, then guess what? There's going to be consequences for that. It's the same thing with the Republican and Democratic parties. If you're not going to give me the results that I need as your boss, then therefore you will be terminated. It is that easy. It is that simple. But the problem is that so many people are conditioned to think that we don't have any other choices. And even if you don't want to do any third parties at all, even if you don't want to believe in any type of electoral politics, that's fine. But what are you doing on the ground in order to build dual power so that we can change this system so that you can actually believe in electoral politics? You could say everything sucks and we're just going to, crap on the duopoly, yes, but at the same time, we're actually not going to do anything on the ground. Then you're just complaining for complaining's sake, just so that people can donate to your Patreon. The thing is, and I mean this with with the most sincerity, is that what are you doing in order to help people to activate them into action? Even if it's not in electoral politics, if you're activating them to build more dual power, to do things like mutual aid on the ground, good. If you're encouraging them to join organizations, good. Keep doing that. But if you're not doing either, if you're continuously not giving people an actual solution or something to do in order to improve their material conditions, then you're basically just a pity party with a Patreon. That's what you are. Everything sucks. This person sucks. This person's doing this horrible thing. All right, so what do we do? And then you don't give them something to do? You're flying by the seat of your pants. You're directionless. Even if you do not want to subscribe to electoral politics, I get it. I say electoral politics is like 10 to 15% of what I want to do. It's taking a few minutes out of a day in November to bubble in the name. Fine. But my biggest goal is actually to do mutual aid on the ground. Because ultimately, are these people going to save us? No. But I use their voices, I use their platforms in order to activate people so that we can get more done. So that we can go, hey, this person's running on this policy. What if we actually, on the outside, actually did this for ourselves outside of this capitalist system? I think that's the point. We have to come together and actually build community. We have to do more than just speak in platforms like this. We actually have to get out there. This is why I try to do mutual aid whenever I can. Now, I'm a little bit suspended right now because I am working on a campaign. But I definitely will be getting back into the swing of things after November 5th. I hope you guys here in Central Florida can join me. If you guys are out in Boston, you guys can join Sabby. If you guys are out in St. Louis, in Kansas City, you guys can join Nick. If you guys are in Michigan, in Detroit area, you guys can join Rome. If you guys are in another city outside of those, you guys can also form groups in order to do mutual aid so you guys can grow and build community yourselves. If you guys want to, there's other organizations that you can join. Here in Orlando, we have Real Orlando, which is Revolutionary Education Action League. They do great work. We got the People's Free Kitchen. You got the Chronicle. Katie Lewis also has his now organization on the East Coast in Florida and Brevard County, where he's actually doing work out there. But ultimately, build. But yeah, thank you very much for that. Amy says Liz Cheney is about as energetic as a coma patient. Probably she and her dear old dad will secretly tick a box for Trump anyway. Probably. I mean, they got a safe face somehow. Zion, my God, ruler says third party can never win all the live long day, and I'm always going to vote for them. You know, and I'm gonna say this one more thing because I've already been on my soapbox enough today. I will not support you simply because you win. If you're fighting for me and you give it your all, but you get your behind handed to him, you get your ass handed to you, but you fought for me, you don't think I'm going to stand with you? You don't think I'm going to stand behind you? You don't think I'm still not going to support you? Even you could be walking away limping, with a bruised eye, busted lip, hair all mangled and everything. But you gave your all for me. I'm standing with you. I don't care. I'm not going to sit there and be a fair weather person. No. You stood with the policies that I actually want to do. You stood for against the empire that is actually committing atrocities around the globe. I'm going to stand with you. Because what am I going to do? Go with the people who are actually harming me? Why? Because they won? That's silly. If first you don't succeed, this is yourself off and try again. You should dust it off and try again. Aaliyah said it, baby. Guess what? Keep trying. And it's not just limited to electoral politics, it's also organizations. And they're not going to get it perfect. Look, the Black Panther Party, they had some issues with misogyny and misogynoir. They had some issues with that. They had to get through that, right? The People's Revolution in Cuba, they had some anti-LGBTQ sentiments, which they carried out, unfortunately. But then they learned and they readjusted. And now they passed the family code laws in Cuba. And now Cuba is literally one of the most progressive nations in the Western Hemisphere. Don't tell me revolutions do not help. Do not tell me that revolutions do not succeed for the people. And yes, we may have a candidate that may veer off wrong in 1 or 2 points. But ultimately, if they agree with us on 90 to 95% of everything, we can have that fight with them, of course. But as long as they're fighting against the empire, as long as they are anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, and are fighting against the empire, and are pushing for liberation for all of us, I'll fight against them on certain points if I disagree with them. But largely, they're with us. So I think that's the point. There's no such thing as a perfect ally. But I damn sure will not be standing with the Democrat and Republican parties who are continuously invested in my oppression or the oppression of me as a Black American, or me as a descendant of Africans, or me as somebody who's melanated, or me as somebody that's LGBTQ, or to any of my sisters, both cis and trans. I will not stand with them. I will not stand for people who give less credence to the voices of the disabled, to the neurodivergent. I will not give credence to the voice. I will not give credence to people who silence the voices of those who are subject to settler colonialism, like our indigenous brothers, sisters, and siblings here on this land, or people in other lands, whether it be Australia, in African nations, or in the Middle East. Let me get off my soapbox, because I'll have y'all here for too long. But look, just keep fighting, as much as you possibly can. And by the way, Z, oh my God, ruler, thank you very much for that comment. Appreciate it. But I think it's important that we keep things in perspective. That ultimately, the larger fight is really to upend the system and create one anew that will actually benefit all of us. because we're worth it. This planet is worth it. And our future is worth it. 7 generations before us, 7 generations in front of us. I see my people out there that are indigenous that are watching. I see you. I listen. And I love you too. All right, everybody. I'm gonna leave this one with all one saying. Practice makes improvement. Perfection is only possible in a spiritual divine sense. People make mistakes. And I definitely know I made mine. But I'll keep trying to be better every single day. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. Let me check on something. Roger sent me a DM. Hang on. I saw that. Uh-oh. Oh, Lord. Oh. I don't know if I can put. Look, Roger. Damn you, Roger. Hang on. I think I should close with this. Rogers told me in a DM, James, when you said you can have a broke leg and we'll still get behind you if you fought for us. I thought this was you about to say this line right here from Bernie. I'm gonna play this, Roger. I'm gonna play this because I wanna end on a happy and fun note. Roger, you win. And then I'll do my patron shout out after this. But we gotta laugh. We gotta laugh. Because I want us to be positive. All right, Raj. Oh Lord. I hope I don't get in trouble for this.
It ain't number 5 minutes, but the foreplay make it seem longer. But you get a woman, black woman, man, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't care how meek that woman is, how soft-spoken she is. If you're giving her the dick, whatever wrong with you, she gonna let you know. You can have a patch on your eye, your leg could be broke. If you get up there, she'll be like, whoa, shit, you patch-eye motherfucker. You broke leg son of a bitch. You know you in this motherfucker. Kick it! You don't understand, guys.
Yep. Oh gosh, I miss Bernie Mac, man. But yeah, it's always about like it doesn't matter if that person, fights tooth and nail, but they still fail. They still get their behind beat. I'm gonna stand with you because you did that thing. You did it. The Democrats run because they know they'll win because they have the money behind them. Third parties are running because they got heart. Their hearts are in it, no matter if they win or lose. Who would you rather support? Man. Roger. Thank you. All right, guys. So let's go into the shout out to the patrons on Patreon. Without you guys, we will not be able to do this type of work. You guys make this absolutely possible. I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to all of you. Here are the tiers, okay? Just to let you guys know. Let me see here. We have the Mega Jaybefaunters. We got Super Duper Jaybefaunters, Super Jaybefaunters, Jaybefaunters, Comrades, Solidarity, and JB members. And shout out to new members, Pamela and Makisha Hale. Thank you so very much for becoming patrons on Patreon. Without you guys, we would not be able to do this. And just let you guys know, my channel, yes, is demonetized. If you like to support the channel, you can support via Patreon and PayPal. Thank you so very much to everybody for supporting the channel. It means a lot to me, and I mean it from the top and bottom of my heart. So thank you. So with that being said, I'm going to head on out. That was funny. That was Bernie Mac and Def Comedy Jam, man. I need to watch that. But anyways, everybody, take care of yourselves. I will see you guys next time on the Sappy and JB show this Thursday. So I'll be seeing you guys then. And yes, I don't think I have plans for, I don't think I have a guest for next week. I think I'll just be doing news stories next week. Yeah, so next week, which is the 29th, yeah, I will not. But thank you guys for tuning in. And look, like I always say, water your plants. I watered mine about a day ago. Water yourselves. I'm watering myself now. Leave the world better than you found it. Smoke them if you got them. Drink them if you got them. If you ain't got them, then watch something funny. Seriously, tune into something that's hilarious, because joy is revolutionary. They don't want you to be happy, but we want you to be happy. And with that being said, forehead kisses to every single one of you, because that's how I roll. And I will see you guys in the next week. You guys have yourself a great day. And by the way, early voting's going on. Might as well go out and do it. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so very much for watching my channel, and I deeply appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you wish to support the channel further, so I can keep bringing you content that is educational and informative, you can become a patron on patreon.com/Jaybefaunt. You can find that link in the pinned comment or in the description below. No matter what you give, you'll be supporting independent media and education that helps make the world better. Thank you so much, and you can watch more of my content here. Mwah. Forehead kisses, and have a beautiful day.